All right, so we've got a whole bunch of reports and articles here all about Affle India and their latest quarterly performance.
Yeah.
You want to really get into the nitty-gritty and see what's going on with their financials, their strategy, and really how they're handling this whole world of digital advertising.
Absolutely. Let's break it down.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So first things first, can you give us a quick overview of just what Affle India is and what they do?
Sure. So Affle India is a big player in the mobile advertising and marketing technology space.
Okay.
They really focus on helping brands connect with consumers on their smartphones and other devices.
Yeah.
So you know those ads that seem to follow you around
Yeah,
and the app recommendations that are like, how did they know I wanted that? That's the kind of thing they do.
interesting. And it seems like they've been doing pretty well this year. At least based on these reports, their revenue growth is pretty impressive.
Mm.
What's driving that?
Well, a big part of it is their consumer platform. It makes up a huge chunk of their revenue. And both user engagement and advertiser spending have been going way up on that platform.
So it's not just about getting those ads in front of people.
Right.
It's about getting them to actually do something,
Exactly.
convert those views into actions.
They're all about driving conversions, actual measurable actions taken by users. That's a key thing that sets them apart. It's not just about awareness. It's about getting results for their clients.
And I'm seeing that reflected in these numbers. Their revenue from the consumer platform is up big time, year over year. But they also have this enterprise platform, right? What's happening over there?
Yeah, so that's another area where they're seeing some good growth. It's still a smaller piece of the overall pie, though.
Okay.
The enterprise platform focuses more on, well, enterprises. They offer more customized solutions for those bigger companies with more complex marketing needs.
So they're not putting all their eggs in one basket.
Right. Diversifying is always a smart move.
Exactly. And it seems like their profitability is keeping pace with that revenue growth.
Mm-hmm.
What are we seeing in terms of their margins and their overall financial health?
Their EBITDA margins are really strong,
Okay.
which means they're running things pretty efficiently. And their profit after tax, or PAT, has jumped up year over year.
That's always a good sign.
It is. They've also been really good at managing their costs, making sure they're getting the most out of every dollar they earn.
Cost optimization. It doesn't sound very exciting, but it's clearly paying off for them.
Definitely. It's about making smart choices, streamlining processes, using technology to be more efficient. That's super important in a market like digital advertising.
Makes sense. Now, a company can have amazing technology and really impressive financials.
Right.
But if they can't keep their clients happy, it won't matter.
Hmm.
What's the story with Affle's client metrics? Are they managing to hold on to their advertisers and bring in new ones?
So this is where things get really interesting. Advertiser retention, keeping those clients happy.
Yeah.
That's a huge indicator of how satisfied they are. And Affle is doing really well there. Not only are they holding on to those clients, they're seeing an increase in campaign volumes, meaning their clients are giving them even more of their advertising budget.
So they're not just keeping them, they're actually growing the business
Mhm.
with those clients.
Exactly.
That's impressive. Any insights into where these clients are located, primarily in India, or are they spreading their wings globally?
So India is still their main market, but they're definitely making moves globally, especially in places like Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America.
Oh, interesting.
Those areas are seeing huge growth in mobile usage, and they're really looking for innovative digital advertising solutions.
So they're picking their battles, focusing on areas where they can really make a difference.
Exactly. It's not just about being everywhere, it's about being in the right places, places where their technology and expertise can really shine. And that brings us to another key piece of the puzzle, their investments in technology, particularly AI and machine learning.
Yeah, the reports are full of that stuff. Are they just jumping on the AI bandwagon, or are they actually doing something new and innovative with those technologies?
No, they're definitely not just talking the talk. They're integrating AI and ML deep into their platform.
Mhm.
They're using it to improve everything from targeting and personalization to campaign optimization and even brand safety.
Give me an example. How are they actually using AI to make a difference for their clients?
One really cool example is their AI CTV Safe tool.
Mm,
It uses AI to filter out risky content for advertisers running ads on connected TVs.
yeah.
Brand safety is a big deal these days. Brands really don't want their ads showing up next to something controversial. So Apple's giving them a way to avoid that and have peace of mind.
So they're not just using AI to make ads more effective. They're using it to build trust
Absolutely.
and address some of these ethical concerns that are coming up, especially as people get more and more worried about data privacy.
Right. They're showing that AI isn't just about algorithms and data. It's about using those tools to create a better, more responsible advertising ecosystem.
That's a great point, and it's definitely something we're going to dig deeper into as we go along. Now, before we move on, I'm curious about their overall market share. They're a big player in India, but how do they stack up against those global giants in the digital advertising and marketing technology world?
Well, it's a tough market out there. You've got those huge companies like Google and Facebook dominating things globally.
Right.
And then there are tons of smaller companies all fighting for a piece of the pie. Affle is carving out its own space, especially in mobile advertising and in those high-growth emerging markets we talked about.
Yeah.
Their CPCU model, their focus on conversions, and all their work with AI-driven solutions, those are definitely giving them an edge. But on the global stage, they're still relatively small. So they'll need to keep innovating and executing really well if they want to keep climbing the ranks.
So it's an uphill battle, but it sounds like they've got the tools and the strategy to make a real impact. And speaking of strategy, let's talk about their plans for the future. What are their ambitions? Where do they see themselves going in the next few years?
They've made it pretty clear they want to be a global leader in mobile advertising and marketing technology.
Ambitious.
Yeah, and their recent moves show that they're not just dreaming big, they're actually taking steps to make it happen. That acquisition of Jamp, for example, that
Right.
mobile marketing platform that specializes in app marketing, that was a huge move towards expanding globally, gave them a strong foothold in the Latin American market, which is growing like crazy.
That's a big step. Shows they're not afraid to make bold moves.
Exactly. But acquisitions are just one part of it. They're also putting a lot of effort into organic growth. They're expanding their team, building up their technology, and constantly innovating to stay ahead of the curve.
So they're not just riding the wave of mobile growth, they're trying to shape it.
Exactly, with their unique approach and their commitment to pushing the boundaries of what's possible in mobile advertising.
This all sounds incredibly promising. But we've seen plenty of companies with great ideas and big plans stumble along the way. What are some of the challenges and roadblocks they might run into as they try to grow?
Well, the digital advertising world is incredibly dynamic and competitive.
For sure.
What works today might be old news tomorrow. They need to stay flexible, always adapting to new technologies, changes in consumer behavior, and shifts in regulations. And they can't forget about the ethical side of things.
Right.
Concerns about data privacy are only going to get bigger, and they're going to have to walk a fine line between using data to get results while also respecting people's privacy and building trust.
A tough balancing act.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle it all in the years to come. Now, I think we've laid a good foundation here. We've looked at Affle's recent performance, their technological innovations, their market position, and their ambitious growth strategy.
Yeah.
But let's step back for a minute and think about what we've learned. What are some of the key takeaways that stand out to you? What's the big picture view of Affle India?
I think the main takeaway for me is that Affle India isn't just riding the wave of digital growth. They're actively shaping it.
Interesting.
They're not afraid to take risks, to innovate, to really push the boundaries of what's possible in mobile advertising. That's clear from their unique CPCU model, their focus on conversions, and their early adoption of AI and machine learning. They're all about delivering real results for their clients, and they're doing it in a way that's both technologically sophisticated and ethically mindful.
That's a powerful combination.
It is.
And it makes me even more curious to dig into the specifics of their operations and see how all these pieces fit together. But I think that's a perfect place to pause for now. We've set the stage, and in the next part of our deep dive, we'll really get into the details of their financial performance, their client relationships, and the challenges and opportunities they face in this ever-changing world of digital advertising.
Sounds good. I'm ready to unpack it all.
Great. We'll pick up right where we left off in the next part of our deep dive.
So let's dig a little deeper into these financials. I know numbers can be a little dry sometimes, but they really do tell a story.
Okay, I'm listening. What story are these numbers telling us about Affle's financial health?
Well, it's a story of growth, strong growth, and really smart financial management. Their revenue growth has been impressive, driven mostly by that consumer platform we were talking about.
Right.
We talked about their focus on conversions, actually getting users to take action, not just see an ad, and that's reflected in the financials. They've seen a big jump in revenue from their CPCU model.
CPCU, that's the one where they only get paid when they get results, right? Seems kind of risky, but I guess it's working for them.
It is a bit of a gamble, but it shows they really believe in what they can do. And the market seems to like it too. That CPC revenue is growing fast, which means advertisers are getting on board with this whole performance-based approach.
So they're saying, we're so confident we can get you results that we'll only get paid if we do. That's pretty bold in an industry that's often criticized for just focusing on how many people see an ad.
Yeah, it's a different way of thinking about things, a move away from that traditional model where you just pay for impressions, whether they lead to anything or not.
Okay, so revenue's one thing, but what about their profitability?
Yeah.
Are they actually making money from all this growth?
Oh yeah, they're definitely making money, and they're doing it well. Their EBITDA margins, which is a key measure of how profitable their operations are really healthy. It means they're managing their costs and resources effectively. And their profit after tax, that's the PADT, has also grown a lot, more than people expected.
So they're not just growing for the sake of growing. They're growing in a way that's actually profitable and sustainable.
That's crucial. That lets them take those profits and reinvest them back into the business, into R&D, expanding into new markets, and continuing to innovate.
We were talking about their investments in AI and machine learning earlier. Are there any signs in the financials that those investments are paying off?
Well, it's still pretty early, but we are starting to see the effects of those investments in their efficiency. Their cost optimization efforts, which are really powered by AI and ML, are contributing to those healthy EBITDA margins we mentioned. Basically, they're using technology to do more with less. They're automating tasks, optimizing campaigns, using their resources in a smarter way.
That's a smart move, especially in a fast-paced industry like digital advertising. Let's shift gears a little and talk about their clients. We know they're doing well in terms of keeping clients happy and growing those campaign volumes, but let's get a little more specific about who those clients are.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing to look at is the geographical spread of their client base. India is their home turf, of course, and still a big source of revenue, but they're seeing a lot of growth in other places, especially Southeast Asia and Latin America.
So they're diversifying geographically. That's a good sign. Less reliance on any one market and more opportunities for growth.
Exactly. It's like planting seeds in fertile ground. They're going into regions where the digital economy is booming and mobile usage is skyrocketing.
And their mobile expertise, combined with an understanding of those local markets, gives them a real advantage. Now, it's not just about where the clients are, but also who they are, right?
Right.
Are there any particular industries or types of businesses they're targeting?
They're having success across a variety of sectors, but they're definitely focusing on those industries that really rely on mobile engagement and are eager to use digital advertising. Things like e-commerce, gaming, fintech, those are areas where they're making a big impact.
It makes sense to focus on industries where your strengths really align and where your technology can actually make a difference. And it sounds like their AI-powered solutions are really resonating with clients in those areas.
Yeah, those AI tools are becoming a key part of what sets them apart. We talked about that AI CTV Safe tool for brand safety on connected TVs. But they're also using AI for better targeting, more personalized recommendations, and campaign optimization across different platforms. And it's not just bells and whistles, it's really core to what they offer. Clients are demanding more sophisticated, data-driven solutions.
So it's like they're not just selling ad space, they're selling intelligence, giving their clients the tools and insights they need to make their advertising more effective, more targeted, more relevant.
That's a great way to put it. They're becoming a partner, not just a vendor. And that's a smart move because clients are looking for more than just impressions and clicks. They want results, they want to understand things better, and they want to see a return on their investment.
And that's where Affle's focus on conversions and their whole data-driven approach really come into play. We've covered their financials, their clients, and the tech they're using. But I'm curious, with all this talk about going global and becoming a leader in the industry, are there any potential roadblocks or challenges they might face?
Well, there are always challenges in business, especially in an industry like this that changes so quickly. One big challenge for them is going to be managing all this growth.
Right.
As they expand into new markets, they have to make sure they have the right people, the right systems, and a real understanding of the local culture to be successful. They can't just copy and paste their approach from India. They have to adapt and tailor it to each region.
It's a global market, but it's also made up of all these very different local markets.
Exactly. Each with its own unique characteristics. And there's another challenge, too. The digital advertising landscape is just getting more and more complex. New platforms are popping up all the time, new technologies are being developed, and consumers are constantly changing how they behave.
So it's like running a marathon on a treadmill that keeps getting faster. You can't afford to slow down. You have to keep pushing and adapting and innovating just to stay in the race.
It's a great analogy. And it shows how important it is that they're investing in R&D and embracing those new technologies like AI and ML.
We focused a lot on their strengths, but
Mm,
every company has its weaknesses. What would you say is Apple's Achilles heel? What should they be most worried about?
That's a great question. And every successful company needs to ask themselves that. For Affle, I think one thing that could be a problem is that they depend on a relatively small number of big clients. They are working on diversifying, but if they were to lose even a few of those key clients, it could really hurt their revenue.
It's that classic client concentration risk.
Right. It's pretty common, especially when a company is still growing. But as they get bigger and more established, it's really important to build a more diverse client base to spread that risk around.
So they need to keep reeling in those big fish, but also nurture a whole ecosystem of smaller clients to create a more balanced and resilient business.
Exactly. Building a solid foundation for sustainable growth. And that brings us to another challenge, that constant pressure to keep those growth rates up. High growth is exciting, but can also be a problem.
Yeah, investors love to see those hockey stick curves, but it creates unrealistic expectations. It puts pressure on the company to deliver those amazing results every single quarter.
It's a tough balancing act. They have to manage those expectations, but also stay true to their long-term vision. They have to make decisions that are good for the company, not just decisions that will make the market happy in the short term.
Finding that balance between ambition and prudence. Not growing so fast that they lose control, but not growing so slowly that they get left behind in this crazy fast-moving market.
That's it. It's a tightrope walk, but it's one that every successful company needs to master. And based on what we've seen so far, I think Affle has the leadership, the vision, and the agility to handle these challenges and keep growing.
It sounds like they've got a lot going for them, but they also need to be aware of the potential pitfalls and stay focused on executing their plans. We've talked about their financial performance, their clients, and some of the challenges and vulnerabilities they might face. What's your overall impression? Are you feeling optimistic or pessimistic about Affle's future?
I'm definitely leaning towards optimistic. They've got strong financials, a clear vision for where they want to go, and they're not afraid to innovate. And the market they're in is full of opportunity. But they can't get complacent. They have to stay nimble, adapt to the changes, and keep delivering for their clients. If they can do that, I think they have a bright future ahead of them.
Sounds like they're a company worth keeping an eye on. And that brings us to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore their growth strategy in more detail, look at their plans for global expansion, and discuss what their approach to mobile advertising tells us about the bigger picture.
I'm really looking forward to getting into that. There's a lot to unpack, and I think there's some really interesting insights to be gained from looking at their strategy.
Great. We'll pick up right where we left off in the next part of our deep dive. All right, we're back for the last part of our deep dive into Affle India. We've talked about their financials, their clients, and some of the challenges they face. Now let's focus on their growth strategy. How do they plan to reach those ambitious goals they've set?
Well, they've got a pretty clear roadmap for the future. It's all about expanding their global reach and continuing to build up their technology, especially those AI and ML capabilities.
Right. We talked about their push into new markets, particularly Southeast Asia and Latin America, and that acquisition of Jamp. That was a big move into the Latin American app marketing space. What else are they doing to really solidify their global presence?
They're taking a multi-pronged approach, you could say. Besides those strategic acquisitions, they're also forming partnerships with local companies in key markets.
Oh, interesting.
It's a way to tap into local expertise, understand the culture, and build relationships with the right people in those regions. It's a smart move. They're combining their own global experience with a deep understanding of those local markets.
So it's not just about being global, it's about building a network, tapping into that local knowledge and those local resources.
Exactly. It's a more nuanced approach. And it's not just about geography either. They're also looking to expand the types of services they offer, finding new ways to use their technology and expertise to meet their clients' changing needs.
So what kinds of new services are we talking about? What's next for Affle?
Well, one thing they're really exploring is using AI for personalized content creation. Imagine ads that aren't just targeted based on demographics, but actually tailored to each individual user. Ads with content that changes in real time based on what that person likes and how they're behaving.
Wow, that sounds almost futuristic, but also a little creepy. How do they balance that level of personalization with all the concerns about privacy and data security?
That's the big question, isn't it? And it's something Affle is definitely aware of. They know that with these powerful technologies comes a responsibility to use them ethically and be transparent. They're investing a lot in data security, and they're committed to giving users control over their data and being upfront about how they're using it.
So they're trying to walk that fine line between the amazing possibilities of these technologies and the need to protect privacy and build trust.
Exactly. It's a tough balance, but it's something every company working with data has to figure out. And it's not just about following the rules, it's about creating a culture where respecting user privacy is just part of everything they do.
It's about going beyond just don't be evil to do the right thing, even when it's hard, even when it might affect the bottom line.
Absolutely. And it's not just good ethics, it's good business. Consumers are getting smarter about data privacy, and they're more likely to trust companies that they think are handling their data responsibly.
It's a long-term investment in building a brand that people can trust. Okay, we've talked about their growth strategy, their global plans, and their focus on using AI responsibly. But let's step back for a second. What does all of this tell us about the future of mobile advertising in general? What trends should we be paying attention to?
Well, one major trend is this shift towards performance-based advertising. Advertisers aren't happy with just impressions and clicks anymore. They want to see results. They want to know how their campaigns are affecting their bottom line. And companies like Affle, with their CPCU model and that focus on conversions, they're in a good position to take advantage of that.
It's moving away from those vanity metrics and focusing on what really matters, driving actual business value.
Exactly. And that brings us to another big trend, the growing importance of data and analytics. Mobile devices give us so much data about what users do, what they like, and where they go. Companies that can use that data effectively, analyze it, and use it to personalize and optimize their campaigns, they're going to have a big advantage.
It's about turning that data into insights you can actually use, understanding your audience, tailoring your message, and getting the right ad to the right person at the right time.
And that's where AI and ML come in. They're essential for making sense of all that data, finding patterns, and predicting what users will do. If companies don't get on board with these technologies, they're going to fall behind.
It's not enough to just have the data. You have to know how to use it. You need the right tools and the expertise to find those insights and turn them into results.
Right. And it's not just about targeting and personalization. AI is also being used to automate things, optimize campaigns, even create content. AI is only going to become more important in advertising in the years to come.
So it's a whole new world out there for mobile advertising. Data is king, AI is the power behind the throne, and the focus is shifting to performance and results. And it seems like Affle India is ready for this new world.
They're definitely making the right moves. Embracing those new technologies, expanding globally, and building a culture of ethical data use. But they're not the only ones. The competition is tough and the stakes are high. It'll be interesting to see how they continue to evolve and innovate.
Well, on that note of anticipation, I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive. We've covered a lot, looking at Affle's financials, their strategy, their challenges, and their opportunities. We even took a peek into the future of mobile advertising and the role AI is playing. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty energized after this.
Me too. It's always exciting to see a company that's pushing the boundaries and shaping the future of its industry. Affle India is definitely a company to watch. They're a great example of how innovation, adaptability, and a commitment to ethical practices are key to success in this constantly changing world of digital business.
Well said. And everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Affle India. We hope you found it as informative and thought-provoking as we did. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring that amazing world of business and technology. Goodbye.